Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. I'm your host, Pattsun, and today we're going to be taking a look at r/surviving infidelity, where OP found out that his ex can be absolutely crazy. Let's begin. The worst pain I've ever felt. Posted by Reddit user Throwaway8128.
20 male here. I invested 2 years of my life into a relationship with someone I was convinced would one day be my wife. 2 years was such a long time for me, literally 10% of my life, as my previous longest relationship lasted only 6 months. If the relationship lasted so long, I thought that was a sure sign it would last forever. And yet, it all came crashing down when she decided to start dating some other guy for months and not even tell me. The warning signs were there, but I didn't want to listen to them. The system was blinking red, and I chose to ignore it because ignorance is bliss. Her cheating on me. That couldn't possibly be right, I thought. She loves me. She knows firsthand the pain of getting cheated on, so there's no way she would ever think of doing such a thing to me. She wouldn't want to give that pain to someone else. I was wrong. Words can't describe the feeling I had when I found out. She didn't tell me, and I didn't go looking for an answer. I found out completely by accident. I don't want to explain how, so please don't ask. I felt myself get gutted, my heart sink into my chest and rip into a billion little pieces. How could she do this to me? The same girl who had meltdowns if I even talked to another girl had been dating another guy for months. How could she? I'd been cheated on before, but this was a much different scale. The other girl at least flat out told me. What that girl did to me was nothing compared to this. It's been just over a month since that day, and I'm still a wreck. My self-confidence, gone. I'm not good enough for girls to like, which is why they always cheat on me and leave me. That must be it, right? He treats me better. That must mean I'm a bad person. I'm a terrible person, and that's why she cheated on me. This is all my fault. I thought I treated her like a queen, and she did and said some extremely horrible things to me during our time together, such as constantly accusing me of cheating, for no reason at all. But I must be mistaken. It's my fault. My mind has gone to bad places all because of this disaster, and everything reminds me of her and what she did to me. All those photos I took with her. She was cheating, thinking of some other guy. All those happy memories. Tainted. I don't even know if I have it in me to trust anyone with my heart ever again. I'm tired of it being destroyed. Sorry if too long, but I had to get this off my chest.
OP, the reason why she's having a meltdown when you talk to other women is because she was cheating on you, and for some fucked up reason, she couldn't even fathom the idea of you being with another girl. What the fuck? That is just classic projection, dude. OP, listen close. You are not a terrible person. This was not your fault, but you need to work on your self-confidence, man. You have allowed her to walk all over you for all of those years, and she wasn't even the first one that did it. OP, hit the gym, eat better, drink plenty of water, and work on your professional career. Make some money, go to therapy. Don't chase after girls. Trust me, OP, once you are looking and feeling better, they will start approaching you, whether you like it or not. And now for OP's first update.
This is an update to my previous post. If you didn't read that one, I'll give an abridged version. I'm a 20 male who found out his girlfriend of 2 years had another boyfriend for at least a few months, and needless to say, I did not take the news well at all. I'll spare you those details, but my mental state was at the absolute lowest it has ever been in my entire life, which, if you knew me personally, would say a lot. Anyways, a lot has happened since my previous post, and I just felt like giving an update. To make a very, very long story short, my ex kept going out of her way to contact me so that she could manipulate and gaslight me some more. She confessed to me that she was being mistreated by the guy she claimed treated her better, with proof, which I won't go into the details of. Basically, he was doing everything to her that she had done to me: manipulation, accusations of cheating, and the like. She told me that she wanted me again, and as a result of all her manipulation, I believed it. Then, just a few days later, she told me she was lying because she was scared I would hurt myself. As you can probably guess, that hurt a lot. The amount of pain and torment that one person has put me through is absolutely unfathomable. She then cut all contact with me because she wanted to be loyal to the guy she was being mistreated by, though some of the things she said to me, even after her cheating came to light, were anything but loyal to him. I was then in the blackest darkness of my life, and I saw no way out. But then something unthinkable happened. I met someone new, someone much nicer and who actually treats me like a human being instead of a toy. Nothing has been made official between us yet, but regardless, things seem a lot brighter now than they did a few weeks ago, and I actually feel happy. I genuinely forgot what it was like to be treated well. I really like her, but the road to recovery is still quite rocky, and I'm still not perfect. But I'm learning to be okay with that. Thank you to everyone who commented and left advice on my previous post. It genuinely meant the world. And to anyone else in this community going through a similar struggle, you've got this. There really is light at the end of the tunnel. Thank you.
Dude, I'm glad that you're doing well, and I hope you're talking to a therapist. Here's a really valuable piece of advice that I can give you, man. Do not rely on someone else for your happiness. Your happiness is your burden alone. Do not put it on someone else. As for your ex, never speak to that bitch ever again, OP. The ex blocked you. That shouldn't be happening. You should be blocking her. You don't need her messing with your head. OP, focus on yourself. Don't get into a new relationship right away. Trust me, it will only end badly. And now for OP's final update.
Hello again. This is my second update to the worst pain I've ever felt, which was my first post in this subreddit. To give an abridged version once again, I am a 20 male who found out that his girlfriend of 2 years had been dating another guy for a few months, and finding out such a thing destroyed me, for lack of a better word. But in my last post, I was doing better. Don't worry, because I still am doing better, but some more stuff happened between my last post and now that I just wanted to get off my chest. As mentioned previously, I've met someone new. She isn't my girlfriend, and things between us have kind of slowed down a bit due to life and all that, but I am still interested in her. As such, any interest in my ex, I'll give her the fake name of Juliet for convenience, was gone. Even if I didn't have the new girl in my life, I knew Juliet wasn't above cheating and abuse, as even before she cheated. My family and friends were all screaming at me that her behavior towards me was abusive, and that there was something seriously wrong with her in the brain. I ignored all their warnings, telling myself that our love would overcome all those problems and she would change her ways once she got better. I chose to believe in her, and you know how that ended. So yeah, I didn't want to be with Juliet anymore, and had no more interest in trying to win her back or any of that, even though I could tell that she really wanted me to. But she still confided in me that the guy she cheated on me with, I'll give him the fake name of Ian, was treating her poorly, and she rescinded her claims that he treated her better than I did. Her confessions got darker and darker, until she eventually told me that his treatment of her and her guilt over what she did to me made her try to unalive herself, to put it lightly. Despite everything, I was still worried for her safety, so I tried to talk her out of doing it again, and it seemed to work. During the same time, Ian, being insecure over me, began behavior that can only be described as stalking, cyberstalking, to be precise. He would keep tabs on any Discord servers he knew I was in, obsessively watch over my Instagram, and any other social media profiles of mine to see what I was doing. Found all my and my sister's information, which he then used to contact her. I don't wish to discuss what he said to her, so please don't ask. He had what seemed like dozens of alts, so blocking him and getting rid of him was difficult. If I blocked one of his accounts, 2 more would show up in their place. Juliet was the same way, as it's not uncommon for her to join Discord servers I'm in using alts, and pretend to be someone else to try and get close to me. I can always tell when it's her. Despite having blocked her before, she always found a way to circumvent it, and when she brought up wanting to unalive herself, I caved in and tried to stop it, on the off chance that she was actually being serious, even though I know that every word out of her mouth is nothing more than a lie. Being with her for 2 years, I knew that she had a history of suicidal thinking and mental illness, so I got scared. She also has a history of stalking me as well, and when I blocked her on Instagram, 4 accounts unfollowed me at the same time. Instagram has a thing where you can block someone's account and any more accounts they may have or create. So I do believe that those 4 accounts that unfollowed me all at the same time were her alts as well, that she probably made follow my account to keep tabs on me. I was never really restrictive with who follows me, despite my account being private, but I definitely will be now. A while ago I was feeling down and depressed, and I came to realize that the only times in the past little while that I felt at peace were when Juliet was not in my life anymore. I realized that I was tired of being a puppet, and that I had lost all respect for myself ever since this situation began, so I finally decided that enough was enough. I sent her a message on all accounts that I knew were connected to her, calling her out for being a manipulative and abusive cheater, and telling her that she and Ian deserved each other, because they were both psychotic, manipulative, abusive liars. I demanded her to cease all communication with me at once, stop making fake accounts to try and reach out to me, and to stop stalking me. I warned her that a restraining order might be in her future if she continues to try and contact me. I'm no lawyer, so I don't know the process of getting one, but I am tired of being stalked by my abusive ex-girlfriend and the man she cheated on me with, so I will definitely read into it if the situation calls for it. After that, I blocked her on all her new accounts that she made since the last update. I'm truly finished with her manipulation and stalking, and I'm just hoping that she respects my wishes and never attempts to contact me again. The Juliet era of my life is hopefully finally over for good. I do feel like I came out of this situation a changed man. I regained the respect for myself that I had lost, and have a newfound sense of love for myself. Even if things don't work out with the new girl, but I really want them to. I'm not gonna wallow in sadness like I did with Juliet, because I now know that I will never waste my time crying over someone who has it in them to neglect me, or treat me horribly like that ever again. They don't deserve my tears. That's the one good thing that she taught me. Thanks then, Juliet. There's still some more stuff that I haven't said, like how Juliet has apparently begun spreading false accusations that I did something bad to her. I don't want to say it, so you can fill in the blanks, but this post is already way too long. In all likelihood, this will be my last update, unless she continues to try and contact me and I wind up dragging her to court for stalking charges. Not sure about the process to do that, but I hopefully won't need to worry about that. Thank you, guys, for all your advice. Love y'all.
Oh, fuck me. Honestly, this whole situation is a kind of drama that would unfold in a very shitty afternoon drama show. But unfortunately, I do believe this is a real story. And OP, I am so sorry that you're in this situation right now. But you need to move forward in your life. You need to grow emotionally and professionally. Why haven't you go no contact? Why haven't you blocked her on everything? Why are you still talking to her, man?
Why are you still here?
OP, if you want peace, just take the evidence, the screenshots, the alternate accounts, and get the restraining order set against the both of them right fucking now. Why haven't you done it? Also, OP, I would suggest that you talk with a lawyer because her allegations can come back and bite you in the ass someday. You're still young, just starting your career. You don't want this allegation in your resume. No way. It could possibly ruin your chances in the future. So go talk to a lawyer. A cease and desist letter may be needed. It's better to be safe than sorry. So get your ass moving. Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. I'm your host, Pattsun, and today we're going to be taking a look at r/relationship advice, where months later, the affair partner is now jealous of OP. Let's begin. My ex-girlfriend's new boyfriend just messaged me in the middle of the night. Ooh, so spicy, OP. Just the title alone, without any context, this could easily turn into r/suddenly gay. But I guess we have to listen to find out. Posted by Reddit user Man of Failure.
I got ghosted a little over a year ago. It was ugly. I was a mess. Started journaling on a separate Reddit. After a few months, I stopped journaling and started focusing on an album I was producing as part of my healing process. Morning of Thanksgiving 2022. In the middle of the night, I get a text from an unknown number telling me to stop making posts about my pain and to get over the fact that I was cheated on. Didn't know I was cheated on until right then, and that my ex had chosen him and they were getting married. I laughed at this because this man is like near 30 and is harassing a complete stranger. They've also known each other for months, at best. I guess my question is, why did this happen? I haven't been in contact with her or her family for over a year, and my journal was my place of peace and quiet for venting about my healing and pain. I don't understand what I did to deserve this. If it was such a problem this whole time, why wasn't I contacted sooner by preferably my ex? How did they find my journal? How long had they been reading? I'm so confused.
OP, I think you should put in your journal that a grown-ass man, a 30-year-old loser, is cyber-stalking and threatening you. Yeah, I think you should do that for, future reference, just in case that you need it. I would also do a reverse phone lookup to find out the name of this loser exactly, and put his name on my journal for evidence. Again, just in case. OP, honestly, this man sounds a little crazy, if you know what I mean. So I would definitely use some precaution here. OP, you can go two ways on this. You can either ignore all of it, or you can escalate the erection. I mean the tension. Escalate the tension. Whatever it is that you do, OP, I must remind you that escalating things is harmful to any relationship, friendly or not. So OP, whatever you decide, whatever it is that you choose, just remember to use some protection. And now, for today's second story. My girlfriend doesn't want to pay for rent. Posted by Reddit user Always Errol.
This might sound stupid because everyone is different, and we are coming from different cultures, but how do I handle this? My girlfriend of 5 years is still in school. She has 2 more years at SF State University. I graduated a year ago and have a job for the last 11 months that pays me around $80K a year. We live in Oakland, California, so $80K is not a lot. My rent is $1,900 with parking and utilities. It will come up to $2,200, and we are planning to move in together in January. So I asked my girlfriend to chip in $500 since she is a student. But she says she won't pay it since she will do laundry, cooking, and cleaning. I didn't ask for it. Now I'm a very clean person and like to keep things tidy myself. That's the reason I live on my own and pay almost half of income for rent to avoid messy roommates. Her arguments are it's so dumb. I hate men like this who can't take care of their family. How am I going to trust you when I have a baby? You are such a weirdo. You have to be a man. You have a job. What do I do? It's just funny to see her saying all of these things.
It doesn't sound like you guys will be compatible in the long term, as your principles and values in life is just far too different, OP. Honestly, I would not let her move in without paying at least part of the rent. $500 is a very reasonable amount. If she's not able to pay even that, she can't live with you, man. I would keep that stance unless you want to be in a relationship where you are gonna be the sole financial provider despite your partner having their own career. That's not really how it works, man. To take it a step even further, I don't see this relationship succeeding, period. So I think you should definitely consider the relationship in its entirety. Don't waste any more of your time here. Good luck. And now, for today's final story. 8 months later, and I'm happier than ever. Posted by Reddit user Royal Information 697.
I have been in a decade-long relationship with my boyfriend. I discovered he cheated on me with multiple people the entire time. I knew about one affair he had with a coworker several years ago. That was one of the most difficult things I had to overcome. Last night I saw messages to a new girl. He's telling her he can't wait to see her, spoil her, travel the world with her. I started digging deeper and went down a rabbit hole of serial cheating and blatant lies. I'm done. I'm already apartment hunting. He leaves on a business trip, actually verified, not an excuse to see a fair partner in a few days. I was planning on moving out while he's gone. My question is, how scorched earth do I go? I'm not in a good place mentally right now, and I can't tell if my ideas are good or bad. When do I tell him I'm leaving? While he's on his work trip? Not at all. Note or no note. If I leave a note, I need it to sting. Possible options are comprehensive list all affair partners I know of, screenshots of sexting affair partners, letter detailing how I feel and what I know. There is a pretty good chance he will lose his absolute shit over me leaving. How do I minimize possible fallout he could cause with my family? We are not married and have no kids. Anything I need to take into consideration legally? What do I do about furniture? We split 50/50 when it was purchased. How do I recover emotionally and mentally? In some of the messages I saw, he was justifying seeing other people because I'm too vanilla. This is extremely painful for me because all the things he said he wanted to do or did with other people are things I have brought up bringing into the bedroom before. He categorically turned down anything new I tried to introduce and made me feel guilty for even bringing it up. Like I was dirty for wanting it. We literally only have sex in the same 2 positions every fucking time at his insistence. Anything else you can impart at this time would be helpful. I am not telling anyone I'm leaving until he's officially out of town, so I don't have an emotional support system at the moment. Now for the first update. Thank you everyone who gave me advice on my original post. It really helped me feel like I was making a good decision in leaving my partner. I pretended like everything was normal until I dropped off my boyfriend at the airport. Immediately after dropping him off, I went straight to my parents' house and told them everything. They were very supportive and backed me up on every decision I wanted to make. They broke the news to my siblings for me, who also rallied behind me in the most incredible way. Within days of him leaving, I had the keys to my new apartment in a new city, and shortly after my family helped me move in. I continued to pretend that everything was normal, as I did not want him to come home early. I only took things I could claim I paid for 100% per the advice I was given here. I also left him a note on the counter that just had a list of names of all known affair partners. At the bottom of the paper, I asked him to make arrangements to get his toolbox out of my parents' garage. I originally wanted to put the toolbox in a storage unit for 30 days, as that was also some advice I got here. I made the mistake of being honest with the owner, however, and he refused service because he did not want to be involved in a dispute. He also told me that I would be the one on the hook for continued payments if he failed to grab his stuff. So just some advice for anyone in a similar situation. Maybe don't tell them why you need the unit, and just be aware if it's your name on the lease, you are responsible for all payments. The day he was due to fly home, I told him his mom needed to be the one to pick him up from the airport. By this time, he could definitely tell something was up and kept asking me what was going on. Around the time I knew he was landing, I sent a text to his current affair partner with a single screenshot of their conversation and the message, "He's all yours. Good luck." Probably a little petty, but I couldn't help myself. I never got a reply. When he got home, he exploded just as I predicted he would. He tried to deny everything and even said he's never cheated on me, which is pretty rich considering I knew about his co-worker affair partner a few years ago. I sent him screenshots of all the relevant conversations, and it turned into him begging me to talk to him in person. I ended up blocking him. His friend reached to me a few hours later because there was concern he had self-harmed. I unblocked him to call him, and he didn't answer. They called the police, who did a welfare check. He hadn't self-harmed, but he was having anxiety attacks, something he is prone to. He called me and we talked for about an hour until he calmed down. He was begging me to come home and was absolutely shocked when I told him I wasn't going to do that, as I've already moved into my own place. He tried to tell me that I'm blowing this completely out of proportion and I shouldn't end this over just words. I told him I couldn't marry someone I don't trust. There was more begging to reconsider, but when I wouldn't budge, he ended the call. Yesterday I got a single "I love you" text which I didn't reply to. I haven't heard anything else. I do have concerns about him self-harming. This is something he has struggled with before. I don't know that I could ever move on if he killed himself over this, even if me leaving was what was best for me. I'm hoping he will seek out help and it won't come to that. Now I'm working on picking up the pieces and rebuilding my life. This has been the most emotionally painful thing I have ever done, and I'm searching for the light at the end of the tunnel. I've been listening to the book Leave a Cheater, Gain a Life, which has brought me some comfort. I think I also could benefit from therapy. If anyone has suggestions on how to find a good therapist, I'd be open to it. This has been an amazing community to get support from. I'm so grateful to everyone who reached out. And for the final update, I made some posts previously about leaving my long-term relationship due to serial cheating. I got some message requests asking for an update, so here it is. It's been 8 months since I left my significant other. I've gone strictly no contact and don't even get on most forms of social media anymore. This alone made a dramatic improvement in my overall mental health and happiness. Another piece of advice I received was to read the book called Leave a Cheater, Gain a Life. I listened to this on Audible on repeat while I was in the thick of it. It became my lifeline. Leaving was not easy. It was as messy as I predicted. There were accusations of me or my family stealing his things. He accused me of trashing his place after leaving. He almost got in a fist fight with my parents. Luckily, I took pictures of exactly everything I left behind and how I left it, so he eventually dropped the accusations. He never fully admitted to everything, even when I sent him some of the screenshots I took. Trickle truthing is real. A cheater will only admit to as much information as they think they can get away with. Now that the dust has settled somewhat, I can look back and see how many red flags there were in my relationship, but I chose to ignore them. If you are experiencing any of what I went through, this is your sign it's time to get out. Feeling like you have to walk on eggshells around the other person all the time. Changing yourself to avoid conflict. Extreme emotional outbursts not in proportion to the issue. Double standards, certain behaviors and actions being justified if the other party does it, but not you. Holding old arguments or issues over your head. Not respecting your boundaries. For me, this came in the form of being groped after repeatedly asking him to stop, or being pressured into sex when I already said no. The other person holds you responsible for their emotional well-being. The idea of leaving and being alone was so scary to me, so I stayed much longer than I should have, not including the cheating. I also had thoughts of this is as good as it's going to get for me. It didn't help that quite frequently my ex would have conversations with me about how hard it would be for me to find someone new if I ever left him. I've learned that not only do I enjoy living alone, I'm the happiest I've ever been. For anyone else in a similar spot, you are not alone. You're stronger and braver than you realize. You deserve so much more.
Outside of the cheating, which is already in itself a relationship-ending behavior, all of those situations, the red flags, OP, those are early warning signs of an emotionally and quite possibly physically abusive person. I'm glad you got out of there. Also, OP, tell everyone you know, tell his workplace, nuke his fucking life, man. I mean, if anybody's crazy enough to try and fight your parents, if that was me, let's just say I'm gonna go apeshit crazy on them before I press charges. I hope you're thinking the same thing, OP. Nuke his shit. Go nuclear. Good luck. Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. I'm your host, Pattsun, and today we're gonna be taking a look at r/true off my chest, where OP's cheating wife doesn't give a rat's ass about their own child. Let's begin. My now ex-wife revealed that she is pregnant with a man she cheated with and no longer wants to see our child. Posted by Reddit user Wasting Rage.
The wife and I have been married for 3 beautiful years. Problem is she doesn't enjoy my hobbies as much as I do. The wife used to happily join me on adventures such as camping or fishing. Now she won't so much as go on a simple hike with me. We have a 7-year-old, and since the kiddo, these adventures have been a little tough to plan and follow through with, which I understand, but it can be hard on me. I like to get out at least once a week to clear the mind, but now that's been reduced to around once a month. She is upset every time I leave on a quick trip to the Rockies, etc., because I'm not helping enough with the kid. I've told her numerous times they should both come along, but she never agrees to this as she no longer enjoys those type of things. Should I give up on the sights I love to see and adventures I can't help but indulge in? I do want to be there for my family, but I can't cut these things out of my life forever, but that's what she expects of me. Advice is greatly appreciated. Opus is asked how often his wife gets to leave without the kid. She has girls' weekends/nights out around once a week to every other week. She just doesn't like camping anymore, and she definitely doesn't like me camping either. She for sure does most of the hard work with our child as I have a job, and I greatly appreciate her for it. When she goes out with the ladies, I'm there for the kiddo, and if she needs a break, there I am. It's no problem, I just want to camp more is all. First update. My wife cheated on me and says it's not her fault. This past weekend the kiddo and I went on a 2-day camping trip for some father-son bonding time. My wife doesn't like camping herself at all anymore and doesn't even appreciate our kid and I going. This is a big hobby for me and I want to share with my son. Usually, we argue a lot about my trips, especially if I request to bring our child, but this time she was oddly cooperative about the whole thing, but still insisted she wouldn't join us. I was surprised but didn't question anything because I was so excited that she was finally allowing us to go, and I didn't want her to change her mind. I thought we had finally found a common ground and the arguments were ending. I was wrong. We had a great trip and returned back on Monday. We expected to come home to an empty house, as my wife should have been at her office for a few more hours. I walked the kid up to his room as he was exhausted and ready for a nap. After, I walked into our bedroom to find a naked man in my bed. I recognized him as my wife's coworker, whom I have met numerous times at her work functions. At first, I was in disbelief and even wondered if I was in the right house. Then my wife walked out of our bathroom, also naked, and I had no more doubts. She looked petrified when she saw me. I have never been so angry. I yelled at the dude to get out of my house so I could speak to my wife. He grabbed his clothes and left. Then we started arguing. I never yell at my wife. We always want to keep things civil for our son, but I was so hurt I was screaming. Then my wife decides to get defensive, saying it's not her fault that I am barely around and camp so much, even though I hardly go on trips anymore because she doesn't like it. She says that's what drove me to do this, your neglect to this family. I was in tears at that point. I just don't understand how her cheating could be my fault. When I turned around to leave, my son was standing in the doorway and I felt terrible for yelling. I quickly consoled him, but my wife snapped at me again, telling me to get my hands off him. Now she won't speak to me and says I can't see my child until I apologize. Apologize for what? She said we could go on this trip. She planned to cheat and that kills me. It makes me wonder if she has done this before. I'm stuck staying with my parents right now. I don't know what to do. I want to see my son. I'm worried I really scared my child, and of course I would apologize to him, just not my wife, but maybe it is my fault. TLDR, my wife cheated on me while my son and I were on a camping trip. She says it's my fault for camping too much. Update, I'm back home now. Decided it was best to get here ASAP. Things are quiet, but I'm relieved to be back in the same space as my son. Thank you all for the advice and kind words. It means so much. I'll keep you all updated if you'd like. Second update. This is a follow-up to my last post about my cheating wife. For the past week, I have been working with a lawyer to initiate the process of divorce and gaining full custody of my son, with the exception of visitation for now until more is resolved. Things were awkward and tense for the first few days of me being back home, so my wife, using wife to keep things simple and identities private, decided to leave to stay with the guy I found naked with her. I'm disappointed at the example she's setting for our son, but this makes my decision to divorce even more concrete. I will continue to share as much as I can if that's what people would like, but of course, court has its confidentialities that I must keep within boundaries. I want to thank everyone for the continued support you all have shown me throughout this tough time in my life. I really do appreciate it. Third update. My now ex-wife revealed she is pregnant with a man she cheated with and no longer wants to see our child. This is another and most likely final update about my ex. See my past posts for more information if you'd like. I expected my last update to be the final post regarding my marriage, but this felt like a necessary thing to share. Last week I received several texts from my ex saying she was pregnant with an unknown man's child, obviously meaning she cheated with multiple other people before the one I found out about. She said she plans to keep the baby and start a family with her coworker. Other posts have context. She also mentioned that she wouldn't be fighting me for custody of our son. I told her I would be willing to split the custody, or at least keep visitation rights for the sake of the kiddo, but she insisted she didn't care about that anymore. I am honestly in awe. I'm shocked she has given up on everything about the family we had, but I am most hurt for my son. At the end of the day, she isn't worth wasting any more of my energy on. I have been spending every moment I can with my kid, and will continue to do so. I'm starting to feel more like myself again, and I can't wait to get back into adventures and nature. I'd like to say a final thanks to everyone for the support and encouragement. I will always be grateful for that. Tobias out.
OP, make sure that you get a court-agreed commitment from her to get child support. She can't just walk away and pretend he doesn't exist. Hell no. If you can afford it, OP, hire a lawyer and make sure she signs her parental rights away, because I'm pretty sure that she will be back sooner or later, forcefully taking your child away from you and then suing you for child support. Do not allow that to happen. Do not give her the opportunity. OP, all I can say is, at least for right now, be the best damn father you can be. Your ex-wife practically gave you the biggest head start. Your child is going to need it. He's going to need a strong, reliable, loving father. He needs his father and a lot of therapy. And most likely, you're going to have to explain this to your child at some point. And I suggest that you start right now. Just make sure that you are age appropriate with it. Good luck. And now, for today's second story. She still won't admit to any wrongdoings, and I don't know what to do. Posted by Reddit user Jolly.
For the past few years, my wife of 15 years has been incredibly detached, indifferent, and distant. Her behavior and personality seem to have drastically changed. There are constant arguments over such trivial matters which result in her shouting, screaming, and subsequently not speaking to me for weeks at a time. These behaviors have carried on for the past 5 years, despite me raising the issues on a regular basis. I always felt she wasn't listening and valuing what I had to say. I grew incredibly tired of having the same discussion with her again and again, and realized she was not going to change back to the loving, caring, and affectionate person she used to be. I therefore decided to start cognitive behavioral therapy, which helps people recognize and change the way they process challenging situations. My motivations to do CBT were that I had accepted she was never going to be caring again, and because I was tired of being hurt so often, I wanted to change the way I processed her volatile behavior so that it hurt me less. I used to be so confident, decisive, and in control, but now I have such low self-esteem, anxiety, and feel I don't even recognize the person I was 5 years ago. 6 weeks into the CBT, I felt like it was helping me feel more positive. That is when I discovered she has been cheating on me for the past year, and quite possibly longer. She refuses to admit it despite me having proof, so now I just don't know what to do. I have even said I forgive her and want to work on the marriage, but she continues to deny it. Had it not been for our children, I am fairly certain I would have ended my life by now. I haven't had a proper meal since all this came to light, and I am unable to sleep. Thoughts of suicide seem to be gradually increasing. I have only researched methods once so far, but I am worried I may do something drastic fairly soon.
Dude, do not even have those thoughts in your head. Your wife is not worth it. You are a faithful man. You are a good man. She's unfaithful, a shitty woman. You must remember, dude, she is the problem, not you. So go contact a lawyer and send her packing. Kick her to the streets where she belongs. Sometime in the future, if you're still willing to get into a relationship, I'm pretty sure that there is a wonderful woman out there waiting for you. One that is loyal and one that will love you and will always be there for you. The one you have right now is shit in a toilet that is waiting to be flushed. And it's common courtesy to flush. So go do it. And now for OP's update.
I posted a while ago about my wife's infidelity. D-Day was just over 2 months ago, because all my evidence can be refuted by he said, she said, such as an overheard telephone conversation and her having alternative profiles for social media platforms, and compromising selfies that I never actually got sent. She maintains that she has not been unfaithful, and that it's all in my head. Although I have maintained no restrictions on her going out with friends. In fact, I have encouraged her to carry on living her life. She has refused to go out since D-Day, so hiring a private investigator is pointless right now. The strangest thing is that we went through all those phases of hysterical bonding for several weeks, and now things have gone back to normal where I don't think she gives a crap. I am just really lost about whether I have the strength to carry on with this marriage. We have 2 children, both under 5 years old, and they have a bearing on my decision-making criteria, obviously. Part of me is fairly certain if I were to have a serious conversation with my wife about me not wanting to carry on, then she would be indifferent about it. In fact, she may well be happy to part ways as she hasn't admitted to her infidelity. This may be because the affair hasn't actually ended and she wants to carry on. My thoughts are all over the place. At times I feel like waking away is the easy thing to do, because I really am having a hard time compartmentalizing her behavior towards me. Other times I think staying is the easy option, because I don't want to upset the status quo. This is such a fucked up situation which I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. We have so much to be grateful for, and yet she won't even commit to being honest. I guess I just needed to vent. Please feel free to read my last post for context.
OP, I get that you are in a very difficult situation. I understand that. But you already know the solution, dude. You already know that she won't change. You already know that it cannot be saved. You want to stay in the status quo because the next step will be difficult and you're afraid of taking that leap. You know she will continue to lie. You know she will accuse you of shit that you didn't do. But it's like cancer. You can live with it for sure until it kills you slowly. Or you can have the surgery, be in pain for a short while, and then enjoy your life. You have to accept reality, OP, because reality will not change for you. Go talk to a lawyer, get an STD test, prepare yourself. Focus on you and the kids. Your wife can go to hell for all you care. Good luck. Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. I'm your host, Pattsun, and today we're going to be taking a look at r/nuclear revenge, where a cheating wife's life get absolutely destroyed. Let's begin. Cheating ex flaunts his side chick, loses his job, and the affair partner gets her graduation dress burned into oblivion. Posted by Reddit user Prestigious Smell.
This happened almost 10 years ago, so even if dots get connected, I know I'm safe as per our laws. This didn't actually happen to me, but I executed the revenge. My last year of middle school, I introduced my best friend, whom I'm gonna call Lily, to one of my arts classmates, who I'm gonna call Shitty. They dated for around 7 years, all through high school and uni, until she found right after graduation Shitty had been cheating on her with his classmate from uni, Catty Cat. Lily and Shitty took language lessons at a small school next to a big shopping mall, and after their breakup I went with her there so she could cancel her classes. I'd been giving her grand speeches about how life would take care of teaching the guy a lesson, all this crap. After being done with cancellation fees, papers and all, we went into the mall for a feel-better dessert, and guess who was there at the food court? Shitty, who spotted me and Lily right away, and Catty Cat, who looked as white as a ghost. Shitty literally dragged Catty Cat towards us, who were both frozen because can you believe it? And forced Catty Cat, who clearly wanted to be anywhere but there, to greet Lily and asked Lily, "Are you not going to talk to me?" All the while with a disgusting grin. I pulled Lily from there without a word. We left the mall, walked to the bus stop, all in silence. After I had digested what had just happened, I told Lily, "You know what I said about life. Forget it, it's gonna take too long." I know what I did afterwards was illegal, and only later would I realize how catastrophic it could have been. Lily still had all of Shitty's passwords, bank account, email, cell phone, etc., and he had hers. As soon as we got home, she'd been staying with me since the breakup. I made her change all her passwords and asked her for his emails. That's all I wanted. In our country, WhatsApp is the most used social media, and we often set it to backup daily into our Google Drive or Gmail. Shitty had his backup on Gmail. I skimmed through 2 years' worth of conversation with Catty Cat, complete with pics and audio files, and cropped out the most interesting parts, such as them talking about sex in the restrooms and emergency exit at Shitty's work during his shift, bragging about how they blinded their significant others to have their escapades. Turns out Catty Cat was married. Now, I was going to send the clippings of doom to Shitty's family. He was their golden boy, but I got a better idea after learning how bad they had fucked up. So I tracked down Shitty's boss on LinkedIn, got his work email, found Catty Cat's husband on Facebook, and using a throwaway account sent them the bomb. Heard through the grapevine Shitty got fired, but cried literally for a second chance and was on probation at work. One more fuck up and bye-bye. Not the outcome that I wanted, but meh. Fast forward a few months, I was talking to my cousin and she was telling me about how her fiancé's colleague was traveling all over the world, and he recently posted some pictures at a bar made of ice, and she wanted to travel there too. She showed me the picture the guy had posted. Lo and behold, traveling colleague was Catty Cat's ex-husband, Rick. I asked her how she knew Rick, and she told me he was her fiancé's friend and work colleague. I didn't tell her about my shenanigans, only said Rick's ex-wife and my best friend's ex had cheated on her, and inconspicuously asked my cousin how Rick was, how it must have been a sad breakup for him, and did she spill the tea. So, Catty Cat had introduced Rick to Shitty during her graduation ceremony a few weeks before I sent the bomb, saying, "Look, this is the friend who helped me with my graduation project." Rick had allowed Shitty and Catty Cat to use his computer at home for said project. Turns out they were fucking on his bed while he was working his ass off to pay for her sorry one, and she made him shake hands with her lover. Rick was a programmer. Catty Cat was from the countryside, and she'd been living in the city with him for a few years. Rick had an awesome salary. He paid for everything so Catty Cat could focus on uni. But one day, he received some evidence his wife was cheating on him with the guy he'd shaken hands, the same guy he allowed to use his computer in his house to help his wife do her graduation project. Rick got her graduation dress set and on fire, shoved her into the car, drove all the way to her family's home in the countryside, reportedly dragged her into her parents' house by the hair, made her kneel and tell her mother and father what she'd been doing. Her father was so distressed, he had a minor stroke, and her mother kicked her out and cut her off from the family. As far as I know, last I checked was 5 years ago, they were still no contact. Rick threw her out of his house. She moved in with Shitty's family. And Rick, now with his salary bitch free, was living La Vida Loca, going to ice bars in neighboring countries. And I was desperate. Had Rick been 1% madder, he could have burned her along with the dress. Her father could have died after my interference. I didn't calculate how Rick could react at all. I called Lily, told her all about it. Lost my sleep over it for weeks, even considered confessing to what I did. Lily asked me to let it go. What was done, to take this as a lesson and let life run its course the next time, as I'd initially said it would. I'm not proud of it, and even though I don't lose sleep over it anymore, I still feel somewhat guilty. Confessing here is kind of cathartic though.
I understand your guilt, OP, but they just got what they deserve. Fuck them for cheating on their respective spouses. But her dad, the father, didn't deserve to have that stroke. That was her fault, not yours. She flaunted the affair like she didn't care. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Simple as that, OP. I'm pretty sure you're a 10 out of 10 ride or die friend. You're a good person. Well done, OP. Today's second story is from r/SurvivingInfidelity. I need some second opinion on whether I was emotionally cheated on. Posted by Reddit user unscottboard.
My girlfriend left me 2 weeks ago, and I learned that she had sex with someone after about 1.5 weeks. In a vacuum, that wouldn't be any kind of cheating, but in context, I'm not so sure. Thing is, a few days before our relationship ended, she called me in distress about how she was crushing on this new guy that had flirted with her a few times at work, and how she really wanted to go hang out with him at a birthday party he invited her to. I cried and told her it made me feel terrible that she was so obsessed with chasing the feelings of that crush, and that I didn't want her to go. She ended up going. After that, she felt weird and needed time to think, created physical and emotional distance between us. When she was ready to meet, she said she didn't want to meet same day because she needed to feel like I wasn't throwing myself at her, and that she was allowed to decide how she spent her own time. So we planned for the day after. Then she postponed our meeting time by a few hours the day after. Then she was 30 minutes late to the new postponed meeting time. Turns out she'd spent time that day and the day before hanging out more with that guy, playing card games at her workplace. And she was late because after playing cards she helped his little brother get to some ADHD training thing. When we met up, we had a long conversation in which she told me about how she's realized there's too many things wrong with our relationship, and she needs out of it to feel independent and like she can do what she wants. Then she keeps hanging out with that guy. And 1.5 weeks later they have sex. So the thing that fucks me up about this is that them having sex shows there is sexual attraction between them, which in my mind means she started fostering an attraction to a dude while still in a relationship with me, to the point of delaying seeing me so she could hang more with him and bond over helping his family, to the point that she would rather hang out with him despite it hurting me than just let the attraction pass and move on. I just can't help but feel like this qualifies as textbook emotional cheating. I feel like I was made secondary, that she broke fundamental relationships boundaries. She's talked about how she felt trapped and suffocated, and needed to feel like she could do the things she wants to do, but I don't feel like that justifies it. I think the solution to those feelings is to either work on it with me or break up, not to go indulge in and build an attraction to someone else. What do you guys think? Is it reasonable and valid for me to feel like she emotionally cheated on me? Or am I being possessive and jealous?
OP, what do you mean emotional affair? It's pretty obvious, dude. This was already a physical affair way before she broke up with you. What you're doing, OP, is textbook white knighting, and it's not a healthy behavior in a relationship. It was bound to fail from the very beginning because she wasn't a healthy relationship partner. There was too much of a power imbalance between the two of you. She monkey branched to a new guy. It hurts, I know. But you dodged a bullet and you learned a valuable lesson about choosing relationship partners. It's still a win, OP. Never take her back. Go no contact and keep moving forward with your life. Good luck. And now for today's final story. My wife cheated. Should I do it now? Posted by Reddit user Cryotov.
So my wife cheated, lied about it for years. She still lies about it, but it was definitely cheating. I now have this urge to do it. I am kinda pissed I passed all the chances I had previously in my life. I had girls asking me out 2 feet away from her in bars. We were at some friend's house and one of the girls ran outside before my wife made it to the car. And she told me to drop her off and come back. It would be worth it, I promise. I also had a gorgeous girl that kept coming at me. She is a high 9, close to a 10. She was not shy one bit when she was flirting with me and telling me all the stuff she wants to do to me. That was very hard to pass up, but I couldn't do that to my wife, even when she was my girlfriend. I don't cheat. I have always been loyal. I would not want to hurt someone like that, nor have that guilt on my shoulders every day. Now, knowing what I know, I'm pissed I passed on the super hot blonde that wanted to fuck me all night. She is a nymph and I bet it would have been the best sex of my life. She is so attractive and outright about what she wants. Should I just cheat the next time I have a chance? There would not be much guilt, and if my wife somehow found out about it, I will just deny like she did. My biggest worry is karma. Karma doesn't like me. And when I do something bad, she pays back tenfold. I'm scared that if I did it, my life would go downhill because karma is a bitch to me. Any input is welcome.
Nah, OP. Don't do this. Don't be a cheater just because you're married to one. It's just gonna make you feel like a shit stain. In fact, I don't even understand your decision. If you have evidence, irrefutable proof that she did in fact cheat, why haven't you divorced her yet? Why are you still in that house living with her? Why are you tolerating their lies? I just don't get it, OP.
Why are you still here?
Just divorce her, dude. Live your life free of her. Don't stoop to her level. You can either be a moron and forgive her and move past it or start over, whatever the hell you want. Or you can do the smart move and rightfully kick her to the streets and get a divorce. Then you can date the people that you want to, sleep with whomever the hell you want. You can even make a list of the people you want to fuck and try to catch up with all of them. No one cares, but you need to get a divorce first. It's just the right thing to do. Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. I'm your host, Pattsun, and today we're gonna be taking a look at r/cheating stories, where OP discovered that his girlfriend, let's just say that she had a lot of guys lined up behind her. Let's begin. My ex who had a very deep rabbit hole. Yeah, I can imagine, OP. She has very, very deep holes. Posted by Reddit user Animus.
Basic info. At the time I was 20 male and she was unknown, possibly around 17 as she lied about her age, and the relationship lasted for around 4 months. But things continued for a couple months more. A couple years back I started going out with this girl from a group chat. And it wasn't anything serious, but she liked me and I was happy to talk with her. Anyways, red flags started coming when she threw a hissy fit when I added her to my Instagram bio and tagged her in something so obviously me seeing other couples doing the same. Was extremely confused, but I kept it at the back of my mind because I didn't have any proof she was doing anything. Fast forward to around Christmas. We started dating in September. My friend texts me asking for advice on asking my girlfriend out, so I play along and see what was going on, and lo and behold, my girlfriend was texting my friend saying she loved him and shit. And obviously he felt like a complete jerk when I told him, and there was my plunge into a rabbit hole. I started blowing up her phone demanding answers, but she wasn't responding, so I had the at the time genius idea to text every single account she follows that appeared to be male. So I text God only knows how many accounts out of the about 1K she followed. And one by one guys start showing me her being flirty with them, and even a couple side guys she was also dating. And then I was suddenly added to some group chat with about 10 other guys who've also at one point got involved with her, but all they did was call her a slut and I should leave her. When I finally got a hold of her, we called and I got the whole everything was my fault, even though we weren't even dating when she started with most of the guys. I went really depressed and like an idiot I kept talking to her and she manipulated me into possibly getting back together. But I broke free after I opened up to one of the guys from the group chat. We met in and he let me pour my heart out to him, and basically, he pulled me out of her web and I'm forever grateful for him. How I broke free is I slowly started cutting contact with her. And over a couple months, I finally basically cut her completely, and we basically never spoke anymore, and she just stalked my Instagram till the day my dog died. She messaged me and you would think she would try to manipulate me and talk about how sorry she is for my loss. But nope, she proceeded to tell me the picture of my dog's collar wasn't good enough and I should take another one. That was my tipping point, and I told her where to go, and after talking to my friend, he finally got me to block her. She then proceeded to use multiple accounts to keep stalking me, so I had to keep checking who viewed my story and block every suspicious accounts in Instagram until she finally gave up. Around that time, I also checked her other accounts for guys so I could warn them in some foolish attempt to save other guys, where I found out she duped a guy into flying over and found an old boyfriend she forgot to break up with, who has been searching for her for a year or so. And now fast forward to today. I found an amazing woman, but I still have emotional scars from my ex that come up every now and again. Also, this might sound fake, but it's 100% real. The last thing I heard about my ex is the whole dating and flirting with multiple guys didn't work out very well. And she got pictures leaked on 4chan. Posts with her accounts urging people to message her, and has a couple long threads revolving around her. TLDR. Ex-girlfriend cheated with multiple guys, then manipulated me for months till a friend pulled me away.
Oh damn, fucking hell, she's for the streets. Thank God you escaped from that, man. Whew. OP, I would highly suggest that you get some sort of therapy to deal with your trauma. You don't want them to ruin your chances for a good relationship in the future, especially not for what a skank did to you in the past. Good luck, and I hope you learned your lessons about red flags. And now, for today's second story. She cheated 5 months ago, but I can't get over it after trying to make it work. Posted by Reddit user Gullible Birthday.
My girlfriend has had issues about lying and cheating in the past. 5 months ago it happened for a third time. The difference was that our son was 4 months old at the time. I caught her talking to her ex 2 days before my birthday, who is in the halfway house after going to prison for trying to break into my apartment. She slept with another guy within the same time frame after going to dinner with her sister. I hate myself so much because I stayed with her. I keep quitting jobs because I have trust issues and I'm so depressed. I hate how my life has turned out. I was happier when I was homeless. I took care of her for the last 2 years, but I am broke myself, so it wasn't much. It was just enough so she didn't have to work in the last 2 years. During that time, I begged her to help with food stamps if she didn't want to work. We fight about everything. If I bring up something she doesn't want to talk about, she begins shouting and controlling the conversation. During our relationship, I've managed to raise my credit score from 400 seconds to 600 seconds. I've gotten half of my GED with my next test this Saturday. And I filed Chapter 7 because I was in so much debt I couldn't get a license, which I need to have to earn more money in the state I live in. I have not been the best boyfriend, but I have never physically cheated on my girlfriend. I only started to text girls after the first time she cheated on me. She has cheated for a total of 4 physical affairs with 2 different people, and I have caught her texting guys multiple times, but some are in a gray area. I have texted girls on 3 different occasions, and 2 of which I was left on read. I am not a catch at the moment. I am not the most confident man, so I do get insecure at times. After being cheated on, I let my ego take control and started posting everything about my life on social media, like I'm doing here. I listened to people like Kevin Samuel and Jordan Peterson, both of which helped me realize why women are repulsed by me. My toxic relationship aired for the public has lost me all my friends. I now have been taking steps to become a better high-value man. I want to respect myself. I ended up losing my apartment to an eviction and now live in my girlfriend's mother's house with her daughter, who has a different father, and our 9-month-old son. I can't shake the feeling that my girlfriend hates me because I asked her for help many times, and she wouldn't get off her ass. Now that we live with her mom, she is willing to work 2 jobs and has food stamps, all because she doesn't want her mom to lose her apartment after letting us live with her. Our rent is currently $800. My rent at my apartment was $1,000. I'm now in debt $3,000 and cannot mentally get myself out of the dark. I hate living with her mom because she walks into the room we are renting when she wants. Last night we got into a fight because my girlfriend needs a ride home from work, so I pack up the kids and pick her up every night at 10. Last night she was home by time I got to her job, which is about 5 minutes by car. She says she got off early and walked home. She called me from home at 10:07. When I was in the parking lot of her job at 10:07. I don't believe she walked, and when I asked about it, she blew up and started a huge fight, shouting at me loudly, even after I asked her to quiet down. She has always shouted for every argument, but now we are in her mother's apartment, and it's unacceptable. I cannot just have a conversation with her. Her mom busted in our room shouting at us, mostly me, saying she'd call the police. I said I will leave, and I grabbed my son. She dialed police and told me I cannot take my child anywhere. So for this reason and many other, like her sister and brother using the N-word so loosely around me, even toward me, I want to take my son and go. That's not an option because her mom calls the police. If I leave this apartment, I will be completely homeless, and right about now, it seems like the better route. I want to leave and buy myself a car to live in. Then I will take my son out to do things every other day, while not paying rent, and paying off my debt and living in a shelter. I am addicted to marijuana, so step 1 is quitting weed, which will be the easiest out of all the things I need to do. My girlfriend is young, so I understand not being able to handle her emotions, but I am afraid to leave my son with her because of how messed up she was before I met her. Her mother was taking care of her kid, and I came around and made her quit doing drugs in order to maintain this relationship. She has been sober for what I know. I tried to give her free time to go back to school, but she still doesn't log in and do any work. By the fact that I see her working so hard for her mom but not herself, and it bothers me. I can't stay any longer. I think she's lying about how she got home, and if she isn't, then the fact that I think she's lying is why I want to end our relationship. She makes me feel bad anytime I say I want to leave, so I hate myself for choosing my happiness and mental health over her. It's hard for me to leave since I know that me doing so will only make her life, and my son's life, harder. I tell her I'm not happy, and she cannot understand why after she already changed and promises it won't happen again. I am the villain who doesn't want this family to work when I tell her it's hard for me to look at her, let alone kiss her. Every time I share a drink with her, I think about how she probably sucked another man's penis. It has become traumatic, and I feel like everyone in her family thinks I'm a clown with no self-respect. Now I'm homeless living with her mom, so I'm even more of a clown. I don't believe she will not cheat on me because she has so many times already. Now that I don't have my own apartment, or car, or anything to offer, any guy with a steady job is attractive to her right now. My thoughts are eating me up to the point that I want to become homeless or even off myself. Please give me advice on this situation. It's snowing outside, so being homeless in winter kinda sucks here. I feel like she is treating me like I'm a bum who has nowhere to go, so I want to leave and isolate myself until I own my own things no one can take from me. I don't mind paying child support, but I don't want to revoke my rights unless they're the absolute best route to take.
OP, do not give up any rights to your son. Please, dude, do not do this. Not to him. Finish your GED. If you have to stay with her to do that, unfortunately, dude, you may need to suck it up until you finish. Work 2 jobs, 3 jobs. Quit all drugs, all alcohols. Set aside money for your escape. Once you have enough money, find your own place. Look into legal help for low-income individuals. Have your custody time put into a legally enforceable agreement. Staying in your son's life is critical to his well-being. You've seen how toxic she can be. You've seen how toxic her family can be. Do you really want your son to grow up in that environment? To fuck him up even more? No. Dude, get your shit together and fight for your right for your son. There will be time to grieve later, to be depressed later. But right now, OP, your son needs his father. He needs you. One more advice. If they are racially abusing you, get them on tape. You have your phone, right? Use the recording feature. Use that recording as leverage the next time they threaten you with the cops. Or you can call the cops on them after you have sufficient evidence and then walk out of there with your son. The best solution for you right now is to move out, get your shit together, and then finally, OP, do not forget this. Fight for your son's custody. His literal future is depending on it. It's not gonna be easy. It's gonna be very, very difficult. But OP, nothing is easy when it involves your child. Good luck. Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. I'm your host, Pattsun, and today we're going to be taking a look at r/surviving infidelity, where OP is having a difficult time moving on. Let's begin. It's been 15 years today. I'm still not healed. Posted by Reddit user Remarkable Pack.
Was cheated on when I was 18 years old, nearly beaten to death by her affair partner and a handful of his friends. I survived, got my revenge, and focused on living a good life thinking I healed. I was so wrong. Met my now girlfriend of 13 years on my 21st birthday. She loved the calm, strong, collected, and confident man that she saw. I kept the anger, hatred, and frustration all in. We've managed to live a pretty good life over the years, traveling and living in different countries. I started reading stories here recently and saw so many people hurting just as badly as I was, some worse. I saw my pain in their words and thought I could say a few encouraging, sometimes harsh words and help them and maybe learn a few things myself. Every story where the betrayed left the wayward and went on to live a better life filled my heart with so much joy that I'd yell out, yeah. And then there were the stories where they took their wayward back. I thought I could let it go and wish them the best but couldn't. There was that rage, anger, and frustration again. You worthless, spineless piece of shit. I caught myself saying that loudly and collapsed onto the ground sobbing. She hadn't seen me like this before. So upon her request, I told her everything that happened before we met. We talked for hours until we dozed off on the couch. We talked some more and she asked if I'd want to go to see a therapist. I just looked at her cause I couldn't answer. I nodded and she called a friend's mother who booked an appointment last Friday. I've attended 3 sessions and am starting to learn how to process these feelings. She's joined me on a few sessions. I just don't know what this is going to lead to, but I am now hopeful. Showed her a pic of my ex and she smiled, looked at me and said, "Wow, you leveled up." She knows exactly what to say to make me laugh. But she's right, I leveled up big time. I want to be better for myself, her, and our family. Reddit helped me realize I haven't fully healed. I don't want to be that hate-filled person anymore. Maybe the ones who have been through this journey would share their wisdom. I'll take all the help I can get. Advice. Sorry for my language. Not really used to telling people about my past.
OP, it's so regrettable that you carried this around for so long. Sometimes we just can't process what our brains won't allow us full access to. Sometimes we just push them down, our emotions, we lock them away by our own volition. That's a bad thing to do in the long run, as you can very well guess by now. You were patching that dam for a long time. It was inevitable that it was going to collapse. Your wife sounds like an amazing person, and you have so much to be grateful for. I'm sorry that it happened to you, but at the same time, I'm very happy for you, OP, and I believe that you are starting to actually process what happened to you. You're going to move forward from this, and once you do, you will feel like a new man. Good luck. Our next story is from r/relationship advice. I still love my partner of 4+ years, and overall we have a healthy relationship, but I'm so exhausted and I don't think I can stay with her anymore. OP, if you're feeling so exhausted that you want to break up with her, newsflash, that's not a healthy relationship. Posted by Reddit user Nick Climbs Stuff.
TLDR. My partner of 4+ years has severe anxiety and depression that have steadily worsened since we moved to a new city 1.5 years ago. And I am so exhausted I don't know that I can stay in a relationship with her, even though I still love her. It comes down to 3 things. 1. Over time. I have become a primary caretaker for her struggles with her mental health. 2. We moved to a new city, and that's not going to change for the foreseeable future. 3. All the work that we've put into our relationship doesn't seem to be working. I don't know for sure if I want out of the relationship, and we're going to try couples counseling first. But if I do decide to end things, I'm looking for advice about breaking up with someone with severe anxiety. Sorry this is going to be so long. A lot of it will probably be boring to read. I just needed to write down how I'm feeling. But I'd appreciate it if those of you with experience dating people with anxiety and depression could give me some advice. I have been dating my girlfriend for over 4 years, and I love her. But things are not going very well for us, and it's really taking a toll on me. I'm not sure what to do and whether I should begin ending the relationship. We started dating pretty quickly after I broke up with my last girlfriend. She knew she wanted to date me and pursued me hard, and we eventually started dating. We got along very well and had lots of things in common, spent lots of time outside together, and had a great group of friends. I was working a relatively easy job while I applied to medical school, and she was finishing grad school nearby. We had 100% fallen in love over 2+ years and frequently talked about our long-term future together. We got even closer during COVID, essentially living together despite not actually having a place together, and decided that when I got into medical school. A typical med school applicant applies to 20 to 30 schools and gets into 1 or 2, so often you are forced to move across the country. She would move with me and start her first real job while I started my first year. We also got a dog and trained him prior to leaving, so she would have a companion while I was studying and working a lot. This is important for later, but I emphasized before we got the dog that there would be many days, even most days, where she would have to be the primary caretaker for him, as I would be having many long nights studying and working. If she couldn't take care of him 100% on her own most days, we wouldn't get him. Of course, we settled it and got him, and I was very happy about it. Best dog ever. For several months before we moved, my girlfriend had been showing signs and symptoms of depression and anxiety, and made the effort to see a therapist to talk about some of her family issues and past trauma, and was eventually diagnosed and started on an SSRI. Around the same time, she switched contraceptives, which tanked her sex drive. Obviously, neither of these things were a big deal, since she was working through some things and taking active steps to make things better. We moved in the summer of 2021 from the very beautiful place we loved to a very large city. No more hiking, no more rock climbing, no more skiing, not even a hill to walk up within a 30-minute drive. We moved into a basement apartment with no natural light a week before I started school, and she started her job. We didn't like the city, but we stayed positive and vowed to try to make the best of the new city. Though we went on semi-regular dates, exploited the free concerts and festivals that popped up, things were obviously very different, and we weren't spending as much quality time together, mostly because of my school. She also didn't love the job she had taken. She worked at a special needs school as a specialized therapist, but she felt like she was being used as a punching bag and a babysitter. This really didn't change over the course of the year, but she got more used to it. She knew she would change jobs at the end of the year, which is also important later. We formed a small group of friends, mostly other medical students and their partners. The problem, though, was that whenever I was busy studying, our friends were also busy studying. She started to feel lonelier and didn't really know how to entertain herself in a new city, so she relied on our dog more and more to keep her company. This is where it starts to really tank. I encouraged her to fly home to our old city and stay with friends for a weekend in November 2021. She was having a great time with her friends, and I hoped it would be rejuvenating for her. I was out with friends for the afternoon. I arrived home to find that our dog got into the trash and had suffocated in the 2 hours that I was gone. A piece of me died that day. It was awful. I sat and wailed and called my friends, who stayed with me for the rest of the night. And what made it so much worse was having to call my girlfriend, while she was having a wonderful getaway weekend with her friends, to tell her that our boy was gone. We went into a really dark place for a few months. We both cried every night. She had panic attacks several times a day that I would talk her through and try to calm her down. About a week after he died, she flew home to her family to have more support while I stayed home alone. I encouraged her to go since I still had to study. Med school is heartless, and I would see her a week later for Thanksgiving anyways. She really needed someone there 24/7. But this also meant I was left alone for a week trying to stay on top of my emotions and school. I portrayed myself as strong, but I felt slightly abandoned. During our Thanksgiving break, we spent a lot of time together crying, but telling each other how strong we were and how much stronger we were together. She was still having regular panic attacks, but I knew we were going to make it through this. We returned to our apartment as the darkest and coldest part of the winter started. We'd go to work and school in the dark and return home in the dark. I tried to get all of my studying done early so that I could be there for her when she got home. But med school is so difficult and requires a lot of extracurricular commitments to be competitive for certain residents that there were many days that she would come home and be all alone for several hours. No more summertime concerts, no more fall colors, and often it was too cold to go outside for very long and enjoy it. She tried reading more, watching TV, cooking fancy meals, and keeping in touch with her family and friends back home, but these few months really started to worsen her anxiety, depression, and loneliness. We no longer had sex or much intimate contact, except for occasionally cuddling before bed, and spent most of our quality time together reassuring ourselves that this phase was only temporary, and we would make it out just fine. I could start to feel myself becoming more of a caretaker than a partner. I was handling our dog's death much better than her, especially after seeing my school's independent counselor a few times to talk it over. But with her, I was still constantly talking her down and she still couldn't go very long without crying. I brought up that I wanted to be there for her, but she needed to see someone else as well, and so she began seeing another therapist in our new city. Her therapist is great, and my girlfriend still sees her weekly. But her conditions did not improve, and the rest of my first year of medical school was incredibly draining. The only things we could talk about were how strong we were. She was still very much in the early stages of grief, or what I could do to help her, which I was happy to do. I held her for hours most nights and tried to distract her by talking about other things, or by putting on a movie. We occasionally distracted ourselves by talking about the vacation we were hoping to take in the summer, and about the prospect of getting a new puppy. We did decide to get another puppy, who is freaking adorable, and things started to get a little bit better. We had a project to work on together in training our new dog, and that was very exciting. But she was still working her job. So, while she was gone for 7 to 8 hours of the day, it became my responsibility to take care of the puppy. It was clearly a different circumstance from getting our first dog, but I still had to organize my school days around being home with the dog. I didn't see my friends as much. I didn't have as much time to study. And I still wanted to spend time with my girlfriend when she got home. I was starting to feel exhausted. We are at the end of my first year of medical school, and on top of everything else, I had planned a 3-week trip to Europe for us to rejuvenate ourselves and spend some much-needed quality time together. We even found an affordable dog boarding and training place who could work with the dog while we were gone. Furthermore, I spent 6 weeks meticulously following Zillow to find a better apartment that was affordable, near school, had natural light, and a backyard for the dog. Eventually, I found the perfect place and thought it would solve a lot of our problems. We had a great time in Europe this past summer, and I certainly felt rejuvenated, but naturally my girlfriend's trip was often miserable. She developed a nasty hand rash 4 days into our trip in Barcelona that didn't resolve until after we got home. Doxycycline-induced photosensitivity, for anyone curious. So she was constantly in pain and couldn't really be in the sunlight. In London she got COVID, but tested negative daily for so long she was actually finished with quarantine before she got the positive result, and got a nasty sinus infection post-COVID. She was a trooper and was able to make it to a lot of the activities I had planned, but I was delicately balancing caring for her with trying to see the sights on our bucket list. Obviously none of that was her fault, but the vacation was far less of an escape for us than we wanted. When we got home, she was almost worse off than before. When we got back to our city in July, she started her new job. She had been talking to her therapist about being more independent when making big decisions with her life, since she felt like she often followed others' advice too much. For example, she did the same undergrad and master's degrees as her sister, and didn't explore other majors in college at all. So I tried to stay out of her decision-making process, and she settled on a company that would require her to commute over an hour each way in city traffic. I knew she hated driving and was setting herself up for 10-hour days, 5 days a week, which I also knew wouldn't be good for her, but she was adamant that it was what she wanted to do. In the 3 months she worked for this company, her anxiety and depression somehow got even worse than it already was. She would leave at 7 a.m., and I wouldn't see her until 7 to 8 p.m. sometimes. There was a week in September where she got so sick, I have to believe it was the flu, that her stress and anxiety levels exacerbated dramatically, that she didn't work for 7 days, which was all of her PTO for the entire year. I remained supportive of her but took on an even greater caretaker role. I was in my 2nd year of med school, notoriously one of the hardest years, taking care of the dog full-time, cooking all of our meals, trying my best to keep the apartment clean, and trying to stay sane. I get like I was taking care of 2 people, a dog, acting as a therapist and a chef, all while trying to study medicine. It seemed like the only things we talked about were her mental health and the puppy. We started bickering a lot more over silly things. I could tell that I was getting burned out. I was honest with her about my concerns, and she started making a plan to leave the company about 6 weeks after she started. She reached out to a few local clinics to work at, but nothing worked out. It didn't matter, because she got sick again in October and the company fired her, very unfairly and out of the blue for excessive absences. I was relieved she was finished with the job, but she had no plan to keep working yet. In the end, she decided she would take some time off to train our dog as a service animal to respond to panic attacks. I was supportive of this since it meant she would get a break from working and hopefully have enough strength to carry on with her life more independently. She came up with a plan. She spent the month before Thanksgiving working on training our dog as a service animal to respond to her panic attacks, which she has done an excellent job with. It makes me happy to see her with our dog all the time, and I know the dog is reducing some of her daily anxiety. Honestly, I have tried to lightly bring up that she would be a fabulous professional dog trainer. Then, we would fly home to her parents' house on the West Coast for Thanksgiving. When I would fly back to finish my semester, she and her dad would drive the new car he bought for her to the town we used to live in, and she would couch surf for the next few weeks until I flew out to meet her there. And we would have Christmas with my family. She does have a few job shadowing opportunities lined up while she is there, but obviously they won't lead to a new job for her since they are 15 miles away. I am getting increasingly worried that getting a new job is not a high priority for her. So, I'm back in the apartment alone again after another bad experience, while she is seeing family and friends. It feels like we're repeating history, only this time I don't feel as optimistic about our relationship when we finally go back to reality in January. My girlfriend's struggles are as bad as they've ever been, and as much as I try to set boundaries about being a caretaker, I inevitably remain one. I can feel the pressure with school getting harder, and my grades have started slipping the past few exams. I know that school is only going to get harder and take up more of my time, as well. I guess it comes down to this. I respect her for trying to overcome some of her problems on her own. I admire that she is regularly seeing a therapist, and has proactively been prescribed medications to help. But it seems like things have only gotten worse. I admire that she's looking for new jobs to alleviate some of my stress, but I feel like she could have been trying to look for opportunities while training our dog as a service animal. Now, she's going to end up taking at least 2 months off work, and she still doesn't have a plan once she returns. I recognize that we have gone through a lot of trauma together, and people take different amounts of time to grieve, but I remain her primary caretaker. We still have our group of friends, but she still doesn't have anyone else to hang out with when I and all of our friends are studying. On another note, she switched contraceptives again recently, but we have still only had sex probably 5 or 6 times since we moved, and not at all since she switched. She talks to her therapist about it often, and comes home with new ideas to revitalize our physical affection for each other, but I always end up being the one initiating. I think that the life that we are living together is unsustainable for me in the long term, especially knowing that the roots of our problems, living in a city that we don't like, her being lonely, and her mental health struggles will clearly not be changing anytime soon. I know that breaking up with her would be devastating to her, and it would set her down a path of misery and pain. I would worry about her harming herself if I were to leave. I still love her and I know it would be very difficult and lonely for me as well. But I don't see any other way out without something magically changing. I wish it were easier to love the person I have loved for 4 years. The next step that we have talked about together is couples counseling. But I feel less hopeful every day. Does anyone have any advice? And if breaking up is clearly the only option, how do I make it as gentle as possible for her? Thanks.
See? I was right, OP. This is not a healthy relationship. It sounds like the two of you had become incredibly codependent, with you being the caretaker and her being the one allowed to fall apart and depend on you to handle all of her emotions. She needs to find a healthy way to manage her own anxiety and stress. The trauma of your dog dying is awful. It's real. And in my opinion, it's just as painful as losing a human. And you both definitely have a right to grieve that loss. However, it seems like more of her problems are related to her own bad decisions, like taking that job that obviously was going to be a poor fit. But her main bad choice, her main bad decision, OP, was following you. And while it's not exactly your fault that she moved to be with you, it's what you both wanted. It was an awful choice from the very beginning if she actually wanted to do anything with her own life. This setup is often a recipe for social and financial disaster for the trailing spouse. Now, I am not an expert or a professional in this subject. So what I will do, I will put some resources in the description box down below so you can check them out later or you can read about them after this video. But from what I can understand, OP, what you are experiencing is the trailing spouse syndrome play out in real life. She feels useless, isolated, hates the location, can't or won't find her own social life, becomes completely dependent on you for emotional and mental health needs, even though you hardly have time for her, takes a whatever job while you get to be the one who is pursuing your real goals. All the while feeling somewhat of a martyr since she did this for you. She moved for you. And you're correct that none of this is going to change for a long, long time. After med school, you will still have your residency, which will mean moving to another location you have little choice over, working 18, 20, maybe even 24-hour shifts and never get to see each other, still living in a shitty apartment because you're under a mountain of debt and still barely make a living wage. Sure, your life may improve in like, I don't know, 10, 15 years or something, once you get settled at a comfy practice in the city of your choice, and your girlfriend can just stay at home with a dog in a big house and a yard. But until then, OP, this is your reality. You are with someone who is incapable of managing their own life and function independently. As for right now, you do not have the time, energy, and mental fortitude to continue helping her if you want to succeed in medical school. OP, it's okay to admit to yourself that this relationship is draining you dry and you don't have the resources to sustain it forever. I'm not saying that this will not work out. That's not what I'm saying at all. But what I am saying is that the two of you need some therapy, particularly her, about her stress, anxiety, and codependence. And then get some couples counseling. Move on from there. Good luck. Viewer support is the best way for me to remain independent and continue bringing you these daily videos, which will always be here on my YouTube channel for you to watch absolutely free. So consider clicking that super thanks just below the video title, or you can use my PayPal in the description box down below. Thanks for listening, everyone. If you even somewhat enjoyed today's story, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and if you really like it, make sure to subscribe to Pattsun to never miss a future upload. Stay strong.